Wow. Here we go. It's time for video number 2. The video where I talk about my favorite albums of the year. Maybe if you're watching this now, that means you saw the songs video that I uploaded first. Songs? Songs. In this video, I'm going to talk about my 30 favorite albums of the year. But like the disclaimer that I'd mentioned with the songs video, there's so many albums that come out every year. How can one person possibly be expected to listen to them all? Trick question, they can't be expected to listen to them all. So, having not listened to a lot of albums, these are just the few albums that I kind of attached to the most this year. The ones that I saw the most value in. So, with that said, let's start with number 30. An Evening with Silk Sonic. Beautiful, beautiful, lush, moving, return to that gorgeous, gorgeous golden 70s sound. Number 29. Sounds of the Unborn by Luka Yupanqui. This one is an ambient album. But the, I guess, selling point about this album is that it's made entirely out of sounds from an unborn fetus. So you've got these weird pulses and kind of biological rhythms that work their way into this kind of loose, spacey techno mix. And man, it's so cool. It's so cool. I don't know. It's comforting. It's a comfort album. It's like returning to the womb in the form of an album. If that sounds interesting to you, please give it a shot. Number 28, Forever in Your Heart by Black Dresses. Loud, noisy, and good. Very, very good. Actually surprised that they came out with this album. I thought they were retired, but I'm very glad that they either came out of retirement or they never were retired. Whatever's the case. Yay, new Black Dresses music. Number 27, a very sad album. By the Time I Get to Phoenix by Injury Reserve. I've never heard a rap album like this, and I don't know if I ever will again. Sad, thoughtful, boundary-pushing beats. If that sounds cool to you, that's because it is cool. You should listen to it. Vulture Prince by Arouge Aftab. Get that Grammy. Get that Grammy. Get a Grammy. Manifesting a Grammy for this album. Number 25. Hey What by Low. Noisy, abrasive, but if you pay attention to sound textures when you listen to music, this one should be satisfying. Very satisfying. 24, For the First Time by Black Country New Road. Really excited about what they're going to drop next year, because if it's anything like this or better, wow, 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 wow. It's something to look out for. Number 23, The Color Blue by Blue. Fantastic, conscious rap album. If that's up your alley, yeah, just give it a good old spin. Good old spin. Number 22. Man, these guys were gone for like 12 years, and now they're back. In a Tiny House in Secret Speeches, Polar Equals by Sweet Trip. I've listened to their entire discography this year, and man, this album's pretty good. It's up there. It's up there. They didn't come back and flop. They came back and dropped. Yeah. Number 21, Shade by Grouper. We believe in Grouper supremacy in this house. I listen to her music pretty much almost every other night before I fall asleep. And man, she is just incapable of making bad music. So beautiful, so comfy. Very comfy. Number 20, one of the more popular albums on my list, Call Me If You Get Lost by Tyler, the Creator. I've been listening to this guy for over 10 years now. I started listening to him back when Yonkers dropped, believe it or not. And man, his progression as an artist just never ceases to amaze me. It's just, even after all this time, I'm still surprised. I'm still intrigued. I'm still just dying to know what he's going to do next. And man, this album was just such a cool next step in that puzzle of Tyler, the Creator. Number 19. It's a Love Supreme, live in Seattle by John Coltrane. Rest in peace, Coltrane. I'm usually not a fan of live albums. I think they kind of diminish what would otherwise be a really cool live experience. To me, they try to capture something that's really hard to hold in an audio recording, but they did it on this one. I'm immersed when I listen to it. Even I typically don't like the cliche of like including the clapping in live albums, which I guess kind of adds to the experience, but in my opinion always kind of took away from the song, I guess. But I don't know, with this one, the fact that we have a name as huge as John Coltrane, but accompanied just by this like what sounds like a really small clubhouse full of claps, it just sounds so just intimate and in the moment. Very jazz. Very, very jazz. Number 18. Volcanic Bird Enemy and the Voiced Concern by Lil Ugly Mane. I guess one of my biggest disappointments with these videos that I'm coming out with this year is that I'm not showing you the album covers for all of these albums. Because if I did do that, you would see the album cover for this one, which is one of my favorite album covers in years. And we haven't even started talking about the music. The music is so just zany and upside down and all over the place. I can't even begin to describe what genre this is. Is this rock, electronic, rap? No, probably not rap, but it's a puzzle for sure. It's just an ever-changing, just colorful Rubik's Cube of an album that is very difficult to solve and probably won't be solved for quite a few more listens, if ever. Number 17, Hanky by Richard Dawson and Circle. A lovely, lovely, lovely singer-songwriter album with really lush, gorgeous, and loud instrumentation. Really love some of the lyrics that come up on this as well. Very botanical, very nature-themed, but also has kind of like a historical, dated edge as well. It's kind of like a time capsule of an album. Almost. Yes, very good. It's number 16, Reprise World by Magdalena Bay. Woo! These guys are electropop excellence. I think I heard this album on a whim and just like one of the few albums to where I heard it and I bought it the same day this year. I don't do that a lot. I usually try to give it 1 or 2 listens before I think, is this really worth my financial support? But no, they removed all doubt by the second track on the album. It's that good. Number 15, Turning Wheel by Spelling. I didn't mention this on the last video, but that's spelling with 3 L's, mind you. A great, great art pop album, and oh man, she did an AMA on Reddit earlier this year where she said that she had never heard any of Joanna Newsom's music before. Joanna Newsom being one of, if not my favorite artists of all time. And that was so surprising to me because I get a lot of those same kind of vibes and sentiments on this album, and not exactly the same, but maybe a similar, or at the very least a comparable musical palette. And just anything that just leans in that direction just immediately grabs my attention. But that's not to knock her and her own individuality as an artist as well. She's wonderful. She's lovely on this album. Give it a try. Number 14, New Long Leg by Dry Cleaning. I talked about on my song review for Scratch Card Lanyard off of this album that the guitar tones on here are very British, so I'll repeat some of those same points again here. If you're a fan of Susie and the Banshees, Fleetwood Mac, Echo and the Bunnymen, and some of the guitar work that you can find with those artists and their discographies, give Dry Cleaning a listen. Also, if you like math rock, if you like anything Don Caballero or any other Hella or maybe even some Lightning Bolt, give this a listen. This is just so active and just everywhere all at once, and the lyrics are funny. They're just they don't, I don't think they mean anything. I just don't. But they're just delivered in a way that just glides over the instrumentals. It's so pleasing to my ears. Number 13, To See the Next Part of the Dream by Paranormal. Man, shoegaze ain't dead. Shoegaze ain't dead, folks, because Paranormal came back in full, not come back, his debut as far as I know, but he came through on full effect on this one. It's so emotional, it's so sentimental, and it is just loud. Wow, so good. Number 12, Smiling with No Teeth by Genesis Owusu. Man, the instrumental palette is just so yummy on this album. The lyrical themes of staying true to yourself and just kind of rising above the negative circumstances that are thrown your way are really relatable and cool to hear as well. And his singing, man, this one grabbed me. And it didn't let go. I can make that same point about this next album, number 11, And Again Into the Light by Panopticon, my favorite metal album that I heard this year. So with this album, I mean, typically black metal, yes, is very scary, very depressing lyrically, and you do get some of those same lyrical and tonality tropes here, but it's done in a way that's so socially conscious, in a way that's really uncommon in black metal. I don't think I've ever heard anything in that genre as socially conscious as I did on this album, and that was refreshing. That was super refreshing. And apparently all of this guy's music is like that. So hey, I've got a lot to look forward to, and hopefully you do too. Next we have we're in top 10 now. Great. Dope Fiend Stupid by Bruiser Wolf. I said it in my songs video, and I'll say it again here. This man literally raps in stand-up comedy, and it's hilarious, and it's funny, and he just doesn't stop. It's just a switch that he doesn't know how to shut off, which gets kind of sad when he talks about stuff that really isn't all that funny. But again, just makes his funny stuff even more funnier, and makes his sad stuff even sadder. So if you like the duality in that description, please try it. Let me know what you think. Number 9. This one grew on me. Didn't like it that much when I first heard it, but just kind of without even trying, I just kept coming back to it. Jubilee by Japanese Breakfast. Michelle Zahner, you are appreciated. You are loved for this album. Thank you. Thank you for this wonderful, wonderful album. Woo! Number 8, Hotels by Jasmine Sullivan. Really great. Just the R&B, off the charts quality R&B tunes with kind of a loose narrative worked in there as well. Maybe not necessarily like a really concrete narrative, but thematically speaking, there's a lot to pay attention to on this album. Very pleased, really looking forward to hearing more of her music in the future. Number 7, man, they came through. We've got Oh No by Shushu, one of my favorite bands of all time, and they don't make bad music. I haven't heard music from them I don't like, and they're like, almost 20 years into their career, and they're still dropping bangers. Like Oh No 2021, an album full of duets with other great artists like Chelsea Wolfe, Greg Saunier, Andrew Agnes from Liars, and Grouper. Oh, the Grouper cut on this album is immaculate. It's immaculate. Listen to it. Thank you. Number 6, I had no expectations coming into this album and was just floored by the time it was done. Sour by Olivia Rodrigo is great, and it deserves all the praise and awards that it's got coming to it. Olivia Rodrigo, that's my little sister. Don't say anything bad about my little sister, because my little sister makes great music. Thank you very much. Number 5. Top 5 albums of the year. We've got Rainbow Bridge by Cemetery, the loudest album that I heard this year. And I've heard some really loud albums. I mean, you're talking about a Mersbo fan, you're talking about a Death Grips fan here. But man, this stuff is just like loud. The kind of stuff this kid, it's like, I don't know. It's like a demonic 100 gex bass boosted times 1,000. If you'll probably either love it or hate it. I don't see a lot of middle ground with this one. So let me know how that goes for you. Number 4, I think a lot of people have heard this one. Another really popular pick. We've got Inside the Songs by Bo Burnham. Funny, sad, thought-provoking, but just infectiously catchy songs. Oh so catchy. Without even thinking about it, I find myself thinking about these songs, at least one or two of them, every other day. So whether or not that's going to continue into 2022 remains to be seen. Number 3, OK Human by Weezer was my album of the year for quite a bit when it dropped. This one dropped early in the year, but got dethroned by some 2 other albums that came out later in the year. But as for what I like about this album, it's like if Weezer all of a sudden decided to be directed by Regina Spektor, and it was great and flew with flying colors for all tracks on the album, which they do. There's not a single track on here that I don't love. That's all so good. Weezer with broke air instrumentation. Who thought of this? Why is this so great front to back? Jeez. Number 2, LP by JPEGMAFIA. It's got that exclamation point, so you gotta be really excited when you say it. It's not LP, it's LP! Woo! I love all of Peggy's music, and for the longest time, my favorite album of his was Black Ben Carson, the one that he dropped, I think, in 2015? If not 2015, 2016. But yeah, my new favorite JPEGMAFIA album. He's just doing so much boundary pushing stuff for rap to where he's just ahead of the game. No one's on his level. No one's even close to his level. And I think it's really going to be, I mean, he's getting his fair praise right now, but I really think years down the line, we're going to look back at JPEGMAFIA and other pioneers in music like him, and it will be only then that we understand his true influence and his true power over rap and popular music at large. What an icon, just in every sense of the word. What an iconic musician JPEGMAFIA. And number 1, my album of the year, 2021, Sinner Get Ready by Lingua Ignota. So I've been listening to her music since 2018. Yeah, 2018. That's when I listened to her, I think, debut or sophomore album. But besides the point, this is one of those albums that reminds you what it feels like to be human and how scary it is to be human at times. The idea that you're so small in a world that's so vast, and how at the end of the day you are a fragile person who bends and potentially snaps at the will of the horrible things and the horrible world that you sometimes have to live in. It's an album that reminds me of acknowledging all of those things and, in a very strange way, accepting all of it and being more powerful because of that acceptance, and surviving in spite of all of those horrible things that you're going to endure in life. I mean, if you're lucky enough to be in a position to where you don't find that relatable at all, I'm happy for you. I hope that lasts. And that sounds kind of melodramatic and soapboxy, and that's not to say I've had the hardest life anyway, but musically speaking, it was the most adventurous album that I'd heard. Sounds and combinations of sounds that I'd never even would have dreamed I'd ever hear on an album. And yeah, this album hasn't left me alone. So there you go. My album of the year, 2021. Please let me know what music you were listening to this year. What are some of your favorite songs of the year? And without further ado, thank you for watching. I really appreciate it. I hope you're doing well. I hope your family's doing well. I hope you guys are being safe. I hope you're hydrated. I hope you're happy. Take care of yourself. Be happy. You got a lot to look forward to. It's 2022. We're going to do it. We're going to get through it. All right. I love you. Take care. Namaste. Hey guys, today I'm going to talk about music. You want to hear about music? Because I'm going to tell you about music. Music. Music? Music.